Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya, Jaya Nityananda, Jaya Dvaita Chandra, Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna. Om Gyana Tinamandasya Gnanjana Shalakaya Chakshur Umnitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Today we're reading on Saturdays from the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and this is the end of chapter 25, how all the residents of Varanasi, Benares, became Vaishnavas. And there's no purports to any of the verses from verse 210, verse 210 throughout the rest of the chapter. So I'm just going to read today, instead of doing the Sanskrit and the also, the rest. I'm just going to actually read the translations for the story. There's this very first one has thank you, Prabhu. This very first one does have a purport, but it just talks about how the rest of it's going to go. So I'm just going to read the translations. Madhya 25, 210. 210. After reaching Prayag, Sanatana Goswami, following the order of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went to Vrindavan along the public road. This is especially significant. This is a purport by Srila Prabhupada. This is especially significant because when Sanatana Goswami went from Bengal to Benares, due to the political situation, he did not go along the public road. After meeting Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu at Benares, however, he was ordered to proceed to Vrindavan along the public road leading to Mathura. In other words, he was advised not to fear for his political situation. I think we're all in that position because we're above those things as Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. When Sanatana Goswami met Subhuti Roy at Mathura, Subhuti Roy explained everything about his younger brothers, Rupa Goswami and Anupama. Since Sanatana Goswami went along the public road to Vrindavan and Rupa Goswami and Anupama went on the road along the Ganges banks, it was not possible for them to meet. Subhuti Roy and Sanatana Goswami had known each other before accepting the renounced order. Therefore, Subhuti Roy showed much affection to Sanatana Goswami, but Sanatana Goswami hesitated to accept his sentiments and affections. Being very advanced in the renounced order, Sanatana Goswami used to wander from forest to forest, never taking shelter of any habitation built of stone. He used to live under trees or beneath bushes, both day and night. Srila Sanatana Goswami collected some books about archaeological excavations in Mathura, and wandering in the forest, he sought to renovate all those holy places. Sanatana Goswami remained in Vrindavan, and Rupa Goswami and Anupama returned to Varanasi. When Rupa Goswami arrived at Varanasi, he met the Maharashtrian Brahmana, Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra. When Rupa Goswami was staying at Varanasi, he resided at the house of Chandrasekhar and took prasadam at the house of Tapan Mishra. In this way, he heard of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's instructions to Sanatana Goswami in Varanasi. So Rupa Goswami and Sanatana Goswami at this point were kind of going different directions, different paths. Rupa Goswami and his brother were kind of going in the clandestine way. Meanwhile, Sanatana Goswami was just sort of out. He was fully renounced at that point, and he was removed from the social conventions of the world, so he wasn't very concerned. While staying at Varanasi, Rupa Goswami heard of all Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. When he heard of his deliverance of the Mayavadi sannyasis, he became very happy. When Rupa Goswami saw that all the people of Varanasi respected Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he became very happy. He even heard stories from the general populace. After staying in Varanasi for about 10 days, Rupa Goswami returned to Bengal. In this way, I have described the activities of Rupa and Sanatana. So Rupa Goswami had heard, when he arrived at Varanasi, he stayed there for some time, probably being received nicely, and after he had learned that all the residents of Benares, Varanasi, had been converted to Vaishnavas, he was ecstatic. He was completely overjoyed, and he relished those topics because that's a big deal, you know. Like when we are out on Sankirtan, or we hear about persons that catch hold of the holy name or catch hold of some aspect of devotional service, and they're appreciating it, and then all of a sudden they're favorable to being a Vaishnava. But actually turning Mayavads into Vaishnavas is quite a different feat, because they're very fixed in their ideas. They're not really thinking that, they're not really thinking there's an absolute. Although when they, of course, came in contact with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were turned, their lives were turned. So it's quite remarkable, actually. As Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was returning to Jagannath Puri, he passed through the solitary forest, and he received great pleasure in doing so. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu happily returned to Jagannath Puri in the company of his servant, Balabhadra Bhattacharya. As previously, the Lord performed many pleasing pastimes with the forest animals. We heard before, when he went through the forest, he was having the tigers and the deer and everyone together, all the animals together, who usually have a lot of wariness or enmity of one another. He made them all dance, and previously it was described even the deer and the tiger touched mouths. So they were very ecstatic at the chanting from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. When Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrived at a place known as Attaranala near Jagannath Puri, he sent Balabhadra Bhattacharya to call for his devotees. Hearing news of the Lord's arrival from Balabhadra Bhattacharya, hordes of devotees became so happy that they seemed to be getting their life back. It was as though their consciousness had returned to their bodies. Their senses also became agitated. Being overwhelmed with great pleasure, all the devotees hastily went to see the Lord. They met him on the banks of the celebrated lake called Narendra Sarovara. When Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati met Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the Lord offered them his respectful obeisances due to their being godbrothers of his spiritual master. They both then embraced Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in love and affection. Devotees like Swarup Damodar, Gadadhara Pandit, Jagannananda, Kashishvara, Govinda, and Vakeshwara all came to meet the Lord, all of his associates. Kashi Mishra, Pradyumna Mishra, Damodar Pandit, Haridas Thakur, and Shankara Pandit also came there to meet the Lord. All the other devotees also came and fell down at the Lord's lotus feet. In return, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu embraced them all with great ecstatic love. Thus they all merged in the ocean of transcendental bliss. Then the Lord and all his devotees proceeded toward the temple of Jagannath to see the deity. As soon as Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw Lord Jagannath in the temple, he was immediately overwhelmed with love and affection. He chanted and danced with his devotees for a long time. It's like the homecoming, right? When someone goes out preaching and trying to convert or just spread Krishna consciousness, share to, maybe some unfavorable persons or, a difficult crowd. But of course, he returned victorious. Lord Chaitanya returned victorious. And then he got together, he and all of his friends, his associates, they got together, they were ecstatic, they were back together, they all went into the temple. And what were they going to do? Of course, they were going to, go ahead and do their kirtan and have a good time. And be Vaishnavas, those are the things that when devotees get together, people on the street or people in the world, they get together, what do? They do mundane things. They might, go to a quilting club or, go to a restaurant or go out drinking or whatever. But actually, they get together. We get together and we glorify the Lord. We chant and dance and feast. That's what the activities of Vaishnavas are. The priests immediately brought them flower garlands and prasadam. The temple's watchman, who was named Tulsi, also came and offered his obeisances to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the priests were glorifying the Vaishnavas who had returned triumphant. When the news spread that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had arrived at Jagannath Puri, devotees like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Ramananda Roy, and Vaninath Roy all came to meet him. The Lord and all his devotees then went to the residence of Kashi Mishra. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Pandit Goswami also invited the Lord to dine at their homes. Accepting their invitation, the Lord asked him to bring all the prasadam there so that he could eat it with his devotees. Upon receiving Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's order, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Pandit Goswami brought sufficient prasadam from the temple of Jagannath. The Lord then dined with everyone at his own place. Isn't that it's a very intimate, I'm finding that eating together, sort of breaking bread, historically we know is an activity where that's when the fruits of the labor or the completion is done with the breaking of the bread or the taking of prasadam. Even here, we have a big festival, or we, do a lot of service, and then we take prasadam, and it's so relishable. It's so relishable. It's so relishable to be together with people you love and you see and you associate with, and get nourishment. It's such an important part of our practice, because even like for animals, I'm just diverting. Even for the animals, like when they eat, they want to eat in solitary. They want to eat in alone, because they feel like someone else is going to take. But with the Lord and His associates, and when we get together here with the Vaishnavas, it's a joyous occasion. We share prasadam, we maybe share with each other, we share remnants, we share bits. It's such an important and I'll say transformative experience when you take that precious prasadam with the other devotees. Can't stress that enough, and we see that here. Thus I have described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu returned to Jagannath Puri from Vrindavan. Whoever hears Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's pastimes with faith and love very soon attains shelter at the Lord's lotus feet. I have thus given a summary description of the Madhya Lila, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's travels to and from Jagannath Puri. Indeed, the Lord traveled to and fro continuously for 6 years. After taking sannyas at the age of 24, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu lived another 24 years. For 6 of these years, he traveled extensively throughout India, sometimes going to Jagannath Puri and sometimes leaving. After traveling for 6 years, the Lord fixed his residence at Jagannath Puri and stayed there for the 18 remaining years of his life. During these 18 years, he mainly chanted Hare Krishna with his devotees. I shall now review the chapters of the Madhya Lila chronologically so that one can relish the transcendental features of these topics. So we're wrapping up this portion. In the first chapter, I have given a synopsis of the last pastimes, Antya Lila. Within this chapter is a vivid description of some of the pastimes of the Lord that took place toward the end of his life. In the second chapter, I've described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's talking like a crazy man. Within this chapter, it is indicated how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu manifested his different emotional moods. In the third chapter, I have described the Lord's acceptance of the renounced order and how he enjoyed his pastimes at the house of Advaita Acharya. In the fourth chapter, I have described Madhavendra Puri's installation of the Gopal deity, as well as Gopinath stealing a pot of condensed milk at Remuna. In the fifth chapter, I have narrated the story of Shakshi Gopal. Lord Nityananda Prabhu narrated this while Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu listened. In the sixth chapter, I have told how Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya was delivered, and in the seventh chapter, I have described the Lord's tour of different holy places and his deliverance of Vasudeva. In the eighth chapter, I have recorded the Lord's elaborate discussion with Ramananda Roy. The Lord personally listened as Ramananda gave the conclusive essence of all Vedic literatures. In the ninth chapter, I've described the Lord's tour of South India and the different places of pilgrimage. In the 10th chapter, I've described his meeting with all his devotees. In the 11th chapter, I've described the great chanting of the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra that surrounded the Lord. In the 12th chapter, I have given a narration of the cleansing and washing of the Gundicha temple. In the 13th chapter, I've described Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing before the There is an account of the Hera Panchami function. And we're going to go back to the 13th chapter and read a little bit about Rath Yatra, since tomorrow is our Rath Yatra, and today there are 3 Rath Yatras. So it's Rath Yatra weekend in our area, actually. Also in the 14th chapter is an account of how the emotional ecstasy of the gopis were described by Swarup Damodar and tasted by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. In the 15th chapter, I've described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu highly praised the qualities of his devotees and accepted lunch at the house of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. At that time, he delivered Amoga. In the 16th chapter, I had described how Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu departed for Vrindavan and journeyed through Bengal. He later returned to Jagannath Puri from Kanai Natta Sala. In the 17th chapter, I've described the Lord's journey through the great forest of Jharikanda and his arrival at Mathura. In the 18th chapter, there is a description of his tour of the forest of Vrindavan. In the 19th chapter, I've described how the Lord returned to Prayag from Mathura and empowered Sri Rupa Goswami to spread devotional service. In the 20th chapter, the Lord's meeting with Sanatana Goswami is described. The Lord described the personal features of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in depth. In the 21st chapter, there is a description of Krishna's beauty and opulence, and in the 22nd chapter, there is a description of the twofold discharge of devotional service. In the 23rd chapter, there is a description of the mellows of the transcendental loving service, and in the 24th chapter, I've described how the Lord analyze the Atma Rama verse. In the 25th chapter, there is a description of how the residents of Varanasi were converted to Vaishnavism and how the Lord returned to Nilachala, Jagannath Puri, from Varanasi. I have thus summarized these pastimes in the 25th chapter. Hearing this summary, one can understand the whole purport of this scripture. And I have now summarized the entire subject matter of the Madhya Lila. These pastimes cannot be described elaborately, even in millions of books. Okay, so I want to go back to the 13th chapter, which is entitled The Ecstatic Dancing of the Lord at Rath Yatra. And there was just a couple chapters particularly I wanted to read. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his prominent devotees, Advaita Acharya, Nityananda Prabhu, and others, were very happy to observe how Lord Jagannath began the Rath Yatra. The very strongly built Dayatas, carriers of the Jagannath deity, were as powerful as drunken elephants. They manually carried Lord Jagannath from the throne to the car. Now we know that we see actually online a lot of devotees of Jagannath, carry Jagannath out as he rocks, right? Oh, this is, I'm sorry, this is 13.8 and going forward. Madhya. Mm-hmm. While carrying the deity of Lord Jagannath, some of the Dayatas took hold of the shoulders of the Lord, and some caught his lotus feet. The Lord Jagannath deity was bound by the waist by a strong, thick rope made of silk. From two sides, the Dayatas caught hold of this rope and raised the deity. Strong, puffed-up cotton pads called tulis were spread out from the throne to the car, and the heavy deity of Lord Jagannath was carried from one pillow-like pad to the next by the Dayatas. While the Dayatas carried the heavy Jagannath deity from one pad to the next, some of the pads broke and the cotton contents floated into the air. When they broke, they made a heavy cracking sound. Lord Jagannath is the maintainer of the whole universe. Who can carry him from one place to another? The Lord moves by his personal will just to perform his pastimes. While the Lord was transported from the throne to the car, tumultuous sounds were made on various musical instruments. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was chanting, "Manima, Manima," but he could not be heard. Lord Jagannath was being respectfully addressed by Sri Chaitanya in this way. While the Lord was being carried from the throne to the car, King Prataparudra personally engaged in the Lord's service while cleansing the road with a broom that had a golden handle. Drista, are you going to play King Prataparudra tomorrow? Oh, okay. That's always your best role. The king sprinkled the road with sandalwood-scented water. Although he was the owner of the royal throne, he engaged in menial service for the sake of Lord Jagannath. Although the king was the most exalted, respectable person, still he accepted menial service for the Lord. He therefore became a suitable candidate for receiving the Lord's mercy. Upon seeing the king engaged in such menial service, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu became very happy. Simply by rendering this service, the king received the mercy of the Lord. So all we have to do is be humble and render menial service, and we'll receive the Lord's mercy. I have full faith in that. Everyone was astonished to see the decorations on the Rath car. The car appeared to be newly made of gold, and it was as high as Mount Sumeru. As a side note, our Rath Yatra, the big cart, has been finished, fully being painted, and there's some very gorgeous murals and all sorts of designs, if anybody. And also, just as an update, we have a beautiful specially made deity by Lochan Prabhu of a smaller Prabhupada with a special Vyasasana that he handmade as well, that is specially made for our Rath cart now. So wherever we take the cart out, we'll have this custom and dedicated Srila Prabhupada who is going to accompany that cart and be seen by all the world because he fits in a very prominent place on the front of the cart. You will all be astonished when you see it, although tomorrow we're using the small cart, so we won't see the big cart out tomorrow, unfortunately, but we'll see it soon. The decorations included bright mirrors and hundreds of chamaras. On top of the car were a neat and clean canopy and a very beautiful flag. The car was also decorated with silken cloth and various pictures. Many brass bells, gongs, and ankle bells rang. Of course, we know that the picture we'll see on our Rath Yatra cart is of our Guru Parampara, but also our dear Jayananda Das, who was the pioneer of Lord Jagannath Mercy and the Rath Yatra in the west. For the pastimes of Rath Yatra, Lord Jagannath got aboard his car, and his sister Subhadra and elder brother Balaram got aboard 2 other cars. For 15 days, the Lord had remained in a secluded place with the supreme goddess of fortune and performed his pastimes with her. Having taken permission from the goddess of fortune, the Lord came out to ride on the Rath car and perform his pastimes for the pleasure of the devotees. The fine white sand spread all over the path resembled the bank of the Jamuna, and the small gardens on both sides looked just like those in Vrindavan. As Lord Jagannath rode in his car and saw the beauty on both sides, his mind was filled with pleasure. Now we're hearing this from Lord Jagannath's viewpoint. The pullers of the car were known as Gaudas, and they pulled with great pleasure. However, the cars sometimes went very fast and sometimes very slow. Sometimes the car would stand still and not move, even though it was pulled very vigorously. The chariot therefore moved by the will of the Lord, not by the strength of any ordinary person. As the car stood still, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gathered all his devotees and with his own hand decorated them with flower garlands and sandalwood pulp. Paramananda Puri and Brahmananda Bharati were both personally given garlands and sandalwood pulp from the very hands of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This increased their transcendental pleasure. Similarly, when Advaita Acharya and Nityananda Prabhu felt the touch of the transcendental hand of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were very pleased. The Lord also gave garlands and sandalwood pulp to the performers of Sankirtan. The 2 chief performers were Swarup Damodar and Srivas Thakur. There were altogether 4 parties of kirtan performers comprising 24 chanters. In each party, there were also 2 mridanga players, making an additional 8 persons. So those are big kirtan parties, and there were 4, probably 1 in the front, 1 in the back, and also in the middle of each cart. When the 4 parties were formed, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, after some consideration, divided the chanters. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Acharya, Haridas Thakur, and Virkeshwara Pandit to dance in each of the 4 respective parties. Swarup Damodar was chosen as the leader of the first party and was given 5 assistants to respond to his chanting. That's so important. Sometimes I hear people leading a kirtan, but no one's responding, or maybe they're whispering, but most of the time there's not very much response. The 5 who responded to the singing of Swarup Damodar were Damodar Pandit, Narayan, Govinda Dutt, Raghavat Pandit, and Sri Govindananda. Advaita Acharya Prabhu was ordered to dance in the first group. The Lord then formed another group with Srivas Thakur as the chief man. The 5 singers who responded to the singing of Srivas Thakur were Gangadas, Haridas, Sriman, Subhananda, and Sri Ram Pandit. Sri Nityananda Prabhu was appointed as the dancer. I want to be in that group. Another group was formed consisting of Vasudev, Gopinath, and Murari. All these were responsive singers, and Mukunda was the chief singer. Another 2 persons, Sri Kanta and Vallabhasena, joined as responsive singers. In this group, the senior Haridas Thakur, was the dancer. The Lord formed another group, appointing Govinda Ghosh as leader. In this group, the younger Haridas, junior Haridas, Vishnudas, and Raghava were the responding singers. 2 brothers named Madhava Ghosh and Vasudev Ghosh also joined this group as responsive singers. Vakeshwara Pandit was the dancer. That's also a good group. There was a Sankirtan party from the village known as Kulinagram, and Ramananda and Satyaraj were appointed as the dancers in this group. And there was another party that came from Shantipur and was formed by Advaita Acharya. Achyutananda was the dancer, and the rest of the men were singers. Another party was formed by the people of Khanda. These people were singing in a different place. In that group, Narahari Prabhu and Raghunandana were dancing. 4 parties chanted and danced in front of Lord Jagannath, and on either side was another party. Yet another was at the rear. There were altogether 7 parties of Sankirtan, and in each party 2 men were beating drums. Thus 14 drums were being played at once. The sound was tumultuous, and all the devotees became mad. All the Vaishnavas came together like an assembly of clouds. As the devotees chanted the holy names in great ecstasy, tears fell from their eyes like rain. When the Sankirtan resounded, it filled the 3 worlds. Indeed, no one could hear any sounds or musical instruments other than the Sankirtan. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wandered through all 7 groups, chanting the holy name, Hari, Hari. Raising his arms, he shouted, "All glories to Lord Jagannath." Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then exhibited another mystic power by performing pastimes simultaneously in all 7 groups. Everyone said, "Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is present in my group. Indeed, he does not go anywhere else. He is bestowing his mercy upon us." Actually, no one could see the inconceivable potency of the Lord. Only the most confidential devotees, those in pure, unalloyed devotional service, could understand. Lord Jagannath was very much pleased by the Sankirtan, and he brought his car to a standstill just to see their performance. You know, this is a whole outpouring of love and reciprocation from the devotees with the Lord. And the Lord was pouring his mercy. Why? Because all the devotees came together to glorify the Lord. That's one of our main tenets in bhakti, to glorify the Lord through song, through bhajans, kirtan, chanting. That's what we're doing all day. Either we're chanting japa or we should try to sing bhajans to the Lord. And many times it seems like people become locked up and they don't want to sing to the Lord. Everybody should sing to the Lord, sing out to the Lord. And even in the Christian religion, it's sing a joyful song, create a joyful noise unto the Lord, isn't it? That's like the tenet, that we have to, that's a must. That's not optional. It's a must. We must create that mood where we're trying to glorify the Lord and also capture the mercy of the Lord, because once the Lord hears us using the voice for something other than prajalpa and actually singing to him, he gives us so much reciprocation in that way. King Prataparudra was also astonished to see the Sankirtan. He became inactive and was converted to ecstatic love of Krishna. When the king informed Kashi Mishra of the glories of the Lord, Kashi Mishra replied, "O king, your fortune has no limit." The king and Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya were both aware of the Lord's activities, but no one else could see the tricks of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Only a person who has received the mercy of the Lord can understand. Without the Lord's mercy, even the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, cannot understand. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu had been very satisfied to see the king accept the menial task of sweeping the street, and for this humility the king received the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He could therefore observe the mystery of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's activities. The meek shall inherit the earth. Although the king had been refused an interview, he was indirectly bestowed causeless mercy. Who can understand the internal potency of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? When the 2 great personalities, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya and Kashi Mishra, saw Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's causeless mercy upon the king, they were astonished. Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed his pastimes for some time in this way. He personally sang and induced his personal associates to dance. Also, dancing is another thing that I find is not being done. Actually, Mukunda Datta, when he was here, he very famously said in the assembly, "Shut up and dance." Means, when we're in front of the Lord, if we're standing there like a statue or like a rock and we're not singing or, where's the bhav? Where's the reciprocation? There has to be some actual action to create that reciprocal it's sort of like a whirlwind, you know. So there must be movement, there must be singing, there must be dancing, arms upraised, really trying to attract. That's attracting the mercy of the Lord, attracting the glance of the Lord through these things. You know, according to his need, the Lord sometimes exhibited one form and sometimes many. This was being executed by his external potency. Indeed, the personality of Godhead forgot himself in the course of his transcendental pastimes. But his internal potency, Lila Shakti, knowing the intentions of the Lord, made all arrangements. That is the function of the Lila Shakti, is to make all arrangements. Just as Lord Sri Krishna formerly performed the Rasa Leela dance and other pastimes at Vrindavan, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu performed uncommon pastimes moment after moment. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's dancing before the Rath Yatra car could be perceived only by pure devotees. Others could not understand. Descriptions of Lord Krishna's uncommon dancing can be found in the revealed scriptures of the Srimad Bhagavatam. In this way, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu danced in great jubilation and inundated all the people with waves of ecstatic love. Thus, Lord Jagannath mounted his car, and Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu inspired all of his devotees to dance in front of it. I'm sure that if we saw Lord Chaitanya dancing, everybody would certainly be induced to dance, right? Because it's infectious, you can't help it. And there's a lot here as far as with Lord Chaitanya dancing, and it's said that he danced in all 7 of the groups, and he was going around so fast to all the groups that no one could see him. It looked like a firebrand. Even he was spinning so fast, and when he was spinning, they couldn't see him spinning, but they could see a ring of fire. It was like the Sudarshan chakra had descended and turned into fire, and everybody was able to see that fire with Lord Chaitanya. So I'm going to go back to, I'm going to revert back to 25 because we can actually finish this chapter. And then we'll start on the next. Let me just catch my place again. 264? Okay. I'm on the Veda base. It's easier to move around. Okay. To deliver all fallen souls, the Lord traveled from country to country. He personally tasted the transcendental pleasure of devotional service, and he simultaneously spread the cult of devotion everywhere. Yes, here's a purport. That's why it stopped there from A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally traveled to different regions of India to spread the bhakti cult throughout the country. He also personally relished transcendental activities. By his personal behavior, he has given an example for devotees to follow. That is, one should broadcast the cult of devotional service. He specifically instructed his devotees to enjoin all Indians to broadcast this message throughout the world, because at that time, the Lord could not personally travel to other parts of the world. In this regard, he has left 2 instructions. Bharata bhumiti haila manusha janma yara janma sartaka kari kara para upakara. All Indians should seriously take up the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and should perfect their lives by adopting the process of devotional service. After perfecting their lives, they should broadcast this message all over the world for the welfare of all human beings. Para upakara. A Vaishnava is especially interested in para upakara, doing good to others. Prahlad Maharaj was also interested in this. He did not want to be delivered alone. Rather, he wanted to deliver all fallen souls who are bereft of knowledge of bhakti and who misuse their intelligence for the temporary benefit of the material body. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also wanted his mission spread all over the world. Vritti Viteya Cheyata Nagara Digrama Sarvatra Prachara Haibe Moranama. In every town and village, the chanting of my name will be heard. Chaitanya Bhagavat, Antya 4:126. Following in the footsteps of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, we are trying to broadcast this message throughout the world. By his mercy, people are taking this movement very seriously. Indeed, our books are extensively distributed in the Western countries, especially in America and Europe. Even the ecclesiastical orders in these countries are appreciating the value of the Krishna consciousness movement and are ready to unite for the highest benefit of human society. The followers of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu may therefore take this movement seriously and broadcast it throughout the world, from village to village and from town to town, just as Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself did. And as a little bit of a side note on that one, it's quite appalling right now in Jagannath Puri that the king is basically telling the rest of the world, you cannot worship Jagannath except during this one time per year. In the vast universes, many worlds, all of Krishna's pastimes are going on in different categories simultaneously. There's never a time when Krishna's pastimes are not going on. And even in this material world, when Jagannath leaves and gets on a cart, no matter where he is in the world, that's when magic happens. And it's actually quite shocking because this, it's not shocking. It's actually not the mood of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, which apparently is not the mood of the persons in charge. They are taking advice from a Mayavadi, and they are saying these things about, these restrictions, wanting to restrict, wanting to decry the daily worship of Lord Jagannath, or whenever, any day is a good day to worship the Lord. Every day is a good day to worship the Lord. This is like when we see sometimes people only come to the temple here on Janmashtami, one time a year. What about the rest of the 364 days? Krishna is still here. He's still ready and eager and waiting to receive everyone's worship and everyone's love, and to have darshan of his devotees, and we can have darshan of him every single day. There's no hard and fast rules on chanting, of course, Krishna's names, which are his manifested, that's him manifest in, sound form. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. There's no restrictions on these things. Prabhupada, Lord Chaitanya is directly saying this. He wants every town and village to know the glories of Krishna, everywhere. Why would anyone restrict that? If this is the Yuga Dharma, it should be completely unrestricted. There should be no hard and fast rules. The Lord is so merciful, and he responds to the mercy and the love of his devotees. And to say that he can't be seen any other time except for this one little window, that's gatekeeping. That's gatekeeping the Lord, and that's not right. And guess what? I don't think that will be the prevailing sentiment. I think that the persons that are propounding that will be having their comeuppance very soon, and Lord Jagannath's glories will continue to be spread worldwide, and at all times and in all places and spaces, and we won't have to hear about this kind of restriction. This is quite appalling, this restriction. So we're about to meet the deities. I guess I couldn't finish here. I had there's not much left? Is there a bunch left? Okay, yeah. Oh, okay, I couldn't because I wanted to divert and talk a little bit about Rath Yatra and the mercy of Lord Jagannath, the Lord of the universe. He's merciful to all, and especially, it is said, he's especially mercy to children and meat eaters and those who are addicted to all kinds of sinful activities. Everybody needs his mercy everywhere, and we can't restrict that mercy. That's why we have a new cart built. So we can take it all over, and we can be in the Christmas parade, and everybody can have the mercy of Lord Jagannath, not just a small few in a place at one particular time of the year. It needs to be spread worldwide. Hare Krishna. All glories to Lord Jagannath, and all glories to his devotees, and Radha Golokananda. Yes, Madhava Prabhu.
Yesterday, Amarendra Prabhu was giving the complete description of how this Jagannath Rath Yatra, how he appeared and happened. And actually, very interesting. He said he is the Lord of he called Jagannath. The entire world, not only India, or a given city, or for a given people, so on and so forth. And that's very important. And then the second thing he said that actually a devotee, a person who is really a kind of subject of a king or a president, may be very degraded, that person, but actually where he should go or she should go, to the king. And Lord Jagannath is the king. So even someone is not qualified, not devotee, he is saying that I cannot go anywhere, you have to accept me, although I'm Maleksha, the lowest of the all, but you are my shelter. You have to accept me, although I'm not devotee, you are merciful to your devotee, so on and so forth. I'm lowest of low, but I can come only you are my Lord. So that's a very important thought process, yes.
Thank you, Prabhu.
Even Britishers try to stop so many things they were saying, and no one could stop.
That's
Thank
right.
you.
That's
Thank you.
right.
Thank you.
Can't stop Lord Jagannath.
If they can restrict it,
Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Enam Kanvandam Maravindadalaya Taksham Bharavatam Samasitam Buddhasundarangam Kandar Agom Vikamaniya Vishesha Shobham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Angani Yasa Sakalen Priya Priti Manti Vasyan Vipan Vikayanti Jiram Naganti Ananda Chinmaya Sadhu Jala Vigrahasya Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami Govindam
Jeev Jago, Jeev Jago, Gaura Chandra Bole. Kota nidra jamaya Vishachira kole Vishachira kole Pajibo bolia eshe Samsara vitore bolia eshe Samsara vitore Bulia rohile to me Havidyara bare Bulia rohile to me Havidyara bare Somare loiti ami Hainu avatara loiti ami Hainu avatara Ami vina manduara Kaya chen tomara Ami vina manduara Kaya chen tomara Enichiya shauri maya Nasibadolagi Enichiya shauri maya Nasibadolagi Harinama Mahamantra Lao Tumi Magi Harinama Mahamantra Lao Tumi Magi Bhagavati Vinora Prabhu Charane Variya Vinora Prabhu Charane Variya Se Hari Nama Mantra Loi Lo Magiya Se Hari Nama Mantra Loi Lo Magiya Jeev Jaga Gaura Chandra Vale Nago Jeev Jaga Gaura Chandra Vale Kota Nidra Jao Maya Vishachira Gole Kota Nidra Jao Maya Vishachira Gole Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna. Hare Rama. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Gauranitai, Gauranitai, Jaya Gauranitai. Jaya Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Radha Golokananda, Shri Radhe. Radha Golokananda, Shri Radhe. Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Giri Govardhan, Jaya Shri Vrindavan. Giri Govardhan, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Lord Gaurachandra is calling. Wake up, sleeping soul. Wake up, sleeping soul. How long will you sleep in the lap of the witch called Maya? You have forgotten the way of devotional service and are lost in the cycle of birth and death. I have descended just to save you. I am your only true friend. Other than me, what friend do you have? I have brought the medicine that will wipe out the disease of illusion from which you suffer. Take this great chant for deliverance. Maha Mantra, the names of Hari. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, falling at the Lord's lotus feet. Take shelter of the Hari Nama Mantra, the Lord's holy names. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur ki jai. Lord Jagannath ki jai. Jagannath Rathayatra ki jai. Cheto Darpanam Arjanam Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam Sri Akairavya Chandrika Vitarinam Vidyavadu Jivanam Nandam Budi Vadanam Padipanam Purnam Swadanam
Sarvatma Snapanam Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahudan Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatra Pitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi. Thank you for dressing. Urdaiva Drishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Tarorapi Suhishuna Amani Namana Dena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Vajagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatad Bhakti Hoitaki Trai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishameva Vambudao Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrushim Vachintaya Nayanam Gadadashu Daraya Varanam Gad Garudai Gira Pulakarnishitam Bapukada Tavanam Agrahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Pravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahena Me Ashlishava Padamritam Anastumam Adarshanam Marmato Karotiva Yata Tatava Vidadatu Lampato mat pranatastu sa eva napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. Oh, my Lord, congregational chanting of His holy name alone, oh, benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds of millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. There are not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. Oh, my Lord, out of kindness, you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I am so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw on the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service, birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears of rain, nearly all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord, unconditionally. Shri Shastra Ki Jai. Harinam Sankirtan today. It's a Nagar Sankirtan. We're leaving from Weaver Street Market to wander around town chanting Hare Krishna at 10:30 this morning. So please come and let's all meet at Weaver Street Market. And the world is actually back in order again because now Maha Mantra is back here. Everything is good. The sun has risen and the moon is still in the sky. Thanks to Maha Mantra. And thank you to Dyaradika for dressing the deities so nicely. And I know we have a big crew downstairs making a nice offering for the deities. So today is a very important day. There is Rath Yatra going in several places, and there's also the Harinam here in town. So let's give the holy name to as many people as we can. Hare Krishna.